Here we go. There we go. Not a giant, it's a nice fish though. Nice channel cat. All right, let's let him go. Let's let him go. Oh, easy, easy, easy. Feisty. Let him go. And there he goes, back to the depths. I'm out here today on one of my home reservoirs, drifting around for channel cats. You know, when it comes to just going out and having a good time and catching plenty of fish, drifting really is the funnest way and, in my opinion, the best way to do it. Let me paddle up here in the shade a bit and tell you what's up. So like I said, I'm out here today drifting for channel cat. I figured it'd give me a good opportunity to do something I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is put together a short series of videos covering drifting. So I'm going to put together a short playlist of videos covering some of the different tactics and ins and outs of drifting in general, and try to cover this thing sort of in depth, and you'll be able to pick and choose the ones you find helpful, or just binge watch the whole thing, the whole playlist, if you want. So that's my game plan here with this. So first off, why drift? You know, what's the benefit in drifting? Mainly, it's about saving time, making the best use of your time, and getting that bait out around in front of active fish, helping you pin down where those active fish are, and help you get that bait in front of them so you get those fish on your hook and into the kayak. So that's the why. Let's talk about the how. The different videos in this playlist are going to focus on different specific techniques and tactics and gear for those techniques and tactics. But before you jump on the water with a bunch of techniques and tactics, you have to have a framework to apply them. You have to have a strategy, and that's what I want to talk about today. So we're going to talk about strategy. I'm going to cover a basic strategy so you have a game plan when you get on the water, and then we'll come back to the water. Okay, first off, let me say that most people aren't going to break this down in the detailed way that I'm about to. Try and keep in mind that I'm a data geek and a process analyst, okay? So I like my labels and my diagrams. I do think there's a benefit, though, in having a framework to keep your information in. You know, there's so much information when it comes to fishing, it becomes really easy to get bogged down in the details and forget where those details lie in the grand scheme of things. So I'm going to try and present everything with the big picture in mind first, so you know where the pieces fit within it. So for every fishing trip, there are two strategic objectives. Eliminate water until you find the fish, and pattern the bite. That's it. You're always trying to accomplish those two things, and accomplishing those two things will mean success for you. Now, every strategic decision that you make boils down to where and how you're going to present your bait. And you're making those decisions in order to accomplish the objectives, right? Now, the single aim of all the learning and all your experience and, you know, everything that goes into trying to become a better fisherman is all just about making better strategic decisions on where and how to present your bait so that you can accomplish your objectives of eliminating water and patterning fish more quickly. Everything you learn, everything you get better at is all just to be able to do that more quickly. So there are three phases to the decision-making process. I mean, when it comes to making decisions, you know, making strategic decisions to accomplish your objectives. You have the homework phase, you have the location phase, and you have the feedback phase. So the homework phase, that's the remote survey, as I like to call it. That is, you take all of the information that you know about fishing, about the fish that you're going after, everything that you've learned through books, through reading, through experience, and then you take a look, you know, you get out some maps of where you're going to go, and you take a look at the maps, and you start to make a hit list of spots that you want to try and fish based on, you know, the time of the year, the weather patterns for the year, everything that you know about fishing, and then what you can learn about the lake you're going to fish or the location you're going to fish, and you start to sort of circle in, hone in on, these are probably the spots I want to try and target. These are the most likely areas that there will be fish. And doing your homework gets you way ahead of the game, right? So you get as much information gathering as you can, you make the best decisions you can about where you're going to put in based on where you want to fish, and then you hit the water. Then you get to the second phase, and that's the location phase, or as I like to call it, the location survey, right? So that means you're going to take all the decisions you made about where you think you're going to fish, what places you're going to target, and then once you actually get to the water for the first time, putting eyes on it, you reassess. You know, you take a look and you start to factor in local things that you couldn't see off the map. Maybe the weather for that day, maybe the wind. Maybe you looked at something on the map that looked great and you're seeing it in person and you're like, yeah, that doesn't have the features I thought it was going to have based on the map. So that's a fine-tuning process that you can't do until you get on the water, you know, until you get to where you're going to fish. And then once you've made sort of reassessment based on showing up and taking a look around, then you make a hit list, where you're going to start, what spots you're going to target, and you get on the water and you start fishing them. You start presenting your bait at those different locations. Then once you're out on the water actually fishing with baits in the water, then you're at the third phase, which is the feedback phase, or where you get operational feedback. That is, you're constantly assessing what is working, what's not working, what do I need to change. Now, the important thing about this phase, and that you have to understand, is you have to have good feedback in order to use the information to make informed decisions, right? So if you're out on the water and you're thinking, I want to target this spot and put my bait down in exactly this location, and then you go out and you get on the water there, you put your bait down, but you're drifting too fast, your bait's getting lifted up off the bottom, and you're missing your target from where you wanted to put it, then you don't have good feedback. And the data that you're using to refine your decision making is bad data. So it's really, really important that you have the ability to apply the tactics properly to accomplish your strategic objectives, right? If you fall short once you get on the water and you aren't able to make the presentations you intend on making, then you can't use that data to refine your process. So the rest of these videos are really going to kind of focus on the tactical applications to accomplish the strategic objectives, so that you get better on the water feedback that you can use to speed up the process of eliminating water and finding the fish. And they're going to be presented within the context of this framework, so as we're talking about one thing or the next thing, you don't lose focus on where it fits into the big picture. So that's where we're headed. The card on top is to the entire playlist. They're all packaged together, and I'll have links to each one of the individual episodes here down in the comments section, so you can pick and choose and watch the ones you want, or you can binge watch all the way through from the beginning to the end just by following along on the playlist, okay? So I'm eager to put this out here. I hope you're eager to follow along and ready to get down to some of the details here. Until next time, thanks for watching. Paddle up. Let's go looking for a fight.